The decline of the Mughal Empire benefited the Marathas greatly, who soon emerged as the most powerful political force in the entire subcontinent. Already, even before Aurangzeb was dead, the Marathas had managed to stop the imperial expansion in the south and had forced the Delhi government to acknowledge its defeat. And then, after Aurangzeb Alamgir's death in 1707, his successors proved to be too weak to restore the lost Mughal authority in the Deccan. Dissensions among the self-seeking Mughal nobles only speeded up the collapse of the grand imperial framework in the south. When one Mughal noble fought the other for the Subedari of Malwa or Gujarat, no matter which side won, the ultimate result was the increase in the strength of the Marathas. Already, after Chhatrapati Shahu's return home from captivity, he had been placed head and shoulders above all his rivals by his Peshwa Balaji Vishwanath, who also secured for him the complete control over the whole of Maharashtra. The next Peshwa, Bajirao Ballal, was an ambitious planner, a daring soldier, and a most dashing leader of men. During his term of office from 1720 to 1740, he was the most powerful figure in the Maratha polity. Bajirao Ballal completely put an end to Mughal authority in Malwa, Gujarat, and Bundelkhand. The jealous opposition of his two rivals, Trimbak Rao Dabhade and Raghuji Bhosle, could not hold back this irresistible Peshwa. Trimbak Rao Dabhade was killed in the Battle of Dabhoi. Likewise, Raghuji Bhosle too was forced to bite the dust in 1739. However, near the end of his life, Bajirao Ballal very wisely realized that if the Maratha power was to survive, it was necessary to divide the different provinces among the rival Maratha Sardars. Accordingly, Gujarat was given to Dabhade, Berar was handed over to the Bhosles, and Dhar in Malwa was granted to the Pawars, while the rest of Malwa and the whole of Bundelkhand remained with the Peshwa. Now, for Raghuji Bhosle in Berar, the only way to make some financial gains was by invading Bengal. Soon after, he received invitations from various internal enemies of that Suba. Frankly speaking, it was a godsend for Raghuji. He was deeply in debt and he badly needed money. And there was only one way left for him to come out of this financial crisis, and that was to plunder Bengal, whose wealth was proverbial and legendary throughout the subcontinent, and which had till then not paid any chauth to the Marathas. Now, at this juncture, it is necessary for us to digress a little and focus on the internal condition of Bengal at that point. During the time of Aurangzeb's death in 1707, Murshid Quli Khan was the deputy governor of Bengal and the full governor of Orissa, besides being the Diwan or revenue chief of these two provinces. Mughal Emperor Farrukh Shah in 1717 made Murshid Quli Khan the full governor of Bengal. Murshid Quli Khan's strong administration, his love for justice, and his strict enforcement of law and order greatly increased the wealth and prosperity of the people and encouraged the growth of trade and commerce in Bengal. When Murshid Quli Khan passed away in 1727, he was succeeded in the Musnad of Bengal by his son-in-law Shujauddin Muhammad Khan. Only 6 years after, in 1733, the reigning Mughal Emperor Muhammad Shah granted to Shuja the charge of Bihar too, in addition to Bengal and Odisha, which he already held. Much like his father Murshid Quli Khan, Nawab Shujauddin Muhammad Khan too enjoyed a rather peaceful and hassle-free reign. In 1739, Shujauddin Muhammad Khan died and he was succeeded by his young son, Sarfaraz Khan. But the new Nawab's relative inexperience in administrative affairs and his excessive indulgence in sensual pleasures threw the administrative machinery completely out of gear. The problem was made worse by the Nawab's jealousy towards Alivardi Khan and his elder brother Haji Ahmed. Now, Alivardi Khan and Haji Ahmed, these two brothers, they had been the most important and most capable officers during the reign of the last two Nawabs. Alivardi Khan, knowing fully well that his life was in great danger from the new Nawab, decided to strike the first blow in self-defense. With great skill and courage, he marched from Patna into Bengal, defeated and killed Nawab Sarfaraz Khan in the Battle of Gheria fought on the 10th of April 1740. And then Alivardi Khan crowned himself as the Nawab Nazim of Bengal, Bihar and Odisha. Soon he secured his recognition from the Mughal court in Delhi by heavily bribing the top Mughal courtiers. However, Alivardi soon discovered that the Musnad of Bengal was anything but a bed of roses. His act of might gained him many enemies who wanted to imitate his example. Numerous enemies of Alivardi Khan raised their heads and came out in the open throughout the three provinces, and some of them even went to the extent of establishing secret contacts with the Marathas, who were in any case only too eager to come to Bengal and loot the fabulously rich province. As the Maratha Burghis set their feet in the province, a new and extremely bloody chapter started in the history of Bengal. To that, we will return shortly in the next episode. Till then, take care, stay tuned, goodbye.